Hey, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to another week. Just want to make sure everyone is having an amazing week this week. Listen, this is November 1st, and we don't have that much time left, right? More than like 60 days left until the year. So, this is the time, if we're going to do anything, the time to just move forward, to break boundaries, and continue to go forward. Hi, everyone. Just first and foremost, want to welcome you to the Learning Lunch today for the Plan to Wealth workshop. The Plan to Wealth workshop is a 2-day workshop that I am giving on November 15th and 16th. And essentially, what it is for any aspiring entrepreneurs, high performing professionals who want to get a jump start on how to start a business. This 2-day workshop is where you want to be. We'll be going into what it means to be an entrepreneur leader. We'll be talking about how you can identify your target audience. And for those of you who don't have clarity and you have a lot of ideas that you want to implement or to start in terms of your business, this is where we'll be able to go where you'll be able to get more clarity in how you want to moving forward. So in the comments, you'll be seeing how you can join, how you can be a part of that. And I'm looking forward to seeing you there. Again, it's November 15th and 16th. It will be, we'll be having it in the evening. And I am looking forward to you being there. So just go into comments. And in comments, you'll see where you can register and sign up. This event is really going to be a phenomenal 2-day event, and I'm really excited, the fact that I'm having it, and that you're going to be a part of it. So make sure you join. All right, everybody. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Uche Maple. I am a leadership development strategist. My company is a leadership and entrepreneurship company, and we offer two services. First service we offer is we help organizations increase leadership development capabilities across their enterprises. So we go in and provide any type of leadership assessments, leadership development workshops that's going to increase the next generation of leaders to be able to take command and how to really work and lead teams for the next generation of technology. In addition to that, we offer entrepreneurship group coaching programs. So, my claim to fame is the fact that I was able to retire at the age of 44 last year. And it was one of the best things that I have ever done, simply because it was, spending 22 years in the workplace. Yes. Um, you just never know how long you end up there, right? So, never in a million years thought that I would be. As a matter of fact, my goal was to retire at the age of 35. Yeah, things that we decide to do. So, but instead of that, I was able to retire at the age of 44, and I'm actually pretty happy and blessed that I was able to be in the STEM industry as a systems engineer, manufacturing engineer, the whole gambit for 22 years, and to be able to provide a lifestyle for my kids where they now are in a position where they can do things better and bigger than I ever did. But one thing that I learned very quickly is that, being when I was mentoring and even when I got mentored and coached, one of the biggest misconceptions that I had to reconcile with is that a lot of times the assets that I was bringing to the table oftentimes got taken as not assets. I don't even want to say a liability because that is a negative connotation, but probably wasn't viewed as an asset just because they didn't take what I was bringing to the table very seriously for whatever reason, right? And I had an epiphany where instead of trying to convince people that I am valued, that I am worthy, that I know the work that I'm doing, I just, my mind was to take everything that makes me amazing and awesome, but and go ahead and start my own business, and being able to leverage and harness the superpowers that I was given and create a business that is going to be impactful and profitable, right? So instead of having to work until the age of 65, you now have, anyone would now have the flexibility to have more flexibility in the options. I am not an advocate for leaving the workplace, because I believe that, if it was not for the work environment, I wouldn't even be where I am today, right? If I had not went to school, got my degree, got my master's, I would not be where I am today, and even had phenomenal mentors throughout my career, I wouldn't be where I am today. However, with that being said, I think it is essential. I think it's required that we do not only depend on one stream of income. It is ludicrous, it is silly, it's ridiculous, and that we need to make sure, I think anyone, is that you need to be able to bring in more than one stream of income. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you go get a second job. You are the asset. You have something in you that someone will purchase and buy, and you get to dictate the ebb and flow of the business that you want. So don't take what you have for granted, because what you don't use, you can lose. Trust in yourself, trust in the belief, and I guarantee you that you have everything it takes to start your side business. And I would like to help you be a part of that. So, with that being said, in comments, I do have the registration link for you if you want to go ahead and register. I hope you do. Go ahead and register for the event. It is November 15th and 16th, and I look forward to seeing you. All right, so let's get on with this. So today, the plan to wealth, I'm having today's learning lunch is about how workplace trauma can prevent you from having a successful side business, right? So what we can identify and what we can say, so excuse me, I'm looking at my slides as well here, is that um, workplace trauma, first and foremost, let's focus on you. For those of you who are tuning in or in the comments, please put in your name, where you're from, and what is it that you get paid to do? What do people pay you for? What services do they pay you for? And let's take it a step further. What services would you like to be paid for? Okay, let me know that. And what is one word, one positive word that people will use to describe you? Put that in comments. Yes? All right. So, first and foremost, let's talk about what is workplace trauma. Is this a new term that you've heard? It was probably one of the ones that I've heard. If I had known what I know now 10 years ago, I was probably experiencing workplace trauma to the utmost. But I just looked at it as, really, it was a toxic environment that led to trauma for me in the workplace. Okay, how's that sound? So, workplace trauma is, I'm going to identify it as any type of traumatic event that occurs in a workplace setting, right? That could be if you experience racism, or if you experience where um, someone in your direct chain was doing something inappropriate to you, threatening you in terms of, if you don't do this, you won't get promoted, or if you had to leave to take care of family members or your child, or even if you had to go to the hospital and they were constantly really following you around, trying to see if you was at work, or letting you know that if you leave work today, you may not have a job tomorrow. All of that pretty much can be considered workplace trauma, because there is a hesitancy and a place of an emotional response when you are inflicted in that environment, and that could be triggered. Here's the best way that I can describe it. So I know for me, maybe one of the biggest things that as a result of something that happened to me in 2015, actually 2005, when I first had my son, right? So I was already experiencing in 2005. It was a lot of things happening. I was pregnant. I had just found out that my sister was ill. So it was a lot of things happening, and I felt like I could not have a conversation with my leader at the time, just because it just was not an inviting environment. Okay. And I remember someone telling me about my leaders, like, well, they're like that because they came up in a time where it was hard for women, so they have a hard exterior, so they just, don't accept any type of, there's no tolerance, and that everyone needs to be at the highest level of operating, and that what happens outside of the workplace should not impact what is happening inside the workplace, which I disagree. Let me just say that. But that's a different type of conversation, um, that we can talk about later. So as a result of that, I didn't feel as if it was a safe environment for me to communicate what was happening as a result of that. And then I remember, after I had my son, and with my sister being ill, that I used to come back to work always in anxiety mode. It was like after I had my kid that, I was in fear of my job. And let me be clear, there was no one threatening me. There was nothing like that. But just because of the high level of expectation, that I felt that my leader was looking for, that I didn't have a chance to make any mistakes. If you've ever heard, I did a series on my YouTube where I talk about how, failure is not an option in the workplace. Even though we are saying that it is, but the reality is it's not, because um, you get your performance will get impacted at the end of the year when they're trying to give raises, whether or not you were successful or not. You need to have some level of success. So when they say, well, no, it's okay, this your first time doing it, but at the end of the year, you will get, your performance will suffer from that. So for me, I didn't feel like it was a place. I always had to come in on time, which is right. That's what you're supposed to do. But internally, I was struggling, just because being a new mom, and with my sister being had her illness, it was a lot on me. And to be honest with you, I showed that I was afraid at work. And what that looks like is, not standing up for yourself. What that looks like is just taking on any assignment that had nothing to do with what you were doing. What that looks like is not advocating for yourself, not speaking up for yourself, just being in an environment, and you're just like, oh my gosh, I hope I just, because I'm just afraid that I have a child, that I have to be phenomenal. And I'm not saying that this is for everybody. This is just a situation that I experienced. So what happened was that outside of work, I didn't realize that I was experiencing this. Outside of work, I would, when I would go to sleep, I would wake up in panic mode, or I would have anxiety, or, if my kid got sick and I had to leave work, I was always stressing out. And it got to the point where my friend, he really reset me. And I actually thank God for him, because again, when God brings certain people into your life to give you certain revelations, you're either going to accept it or reject it. And I was very open to receiving what he said. He said to me over the phone, he said, listen, you're going to have to quit being afraid of your work environment, of your boss, of not having a job. He said, one, because they know that. And as a result of knowing that, you get an opportunity to treat you any type of way. And that was the moment where I had to reset and remember who I was. A lot of times we forget who we are, right? We forget the things that we did to get to the position that we're in. We forget all of the education that we learned, all of the networking capabilities, all the ways being able to communicate, being able to strategize. We forget all of that. And sometimes it takes people from the outside to remind you who you are. Yes, yes. So I'm going to just say this for anyone right now who is experiencing any type of trauma that's in the workplace. Remember who you are. Remember the late nights that you had to do to get the homework done. Remember the late nights and the strategizing and the influencing you had to do to get those projects. And when you finally got it, don't allow someone else's perception of you become your own reality. And that's essentially what I had allowed to happen. And by him giving me that nugget in that moment, to be honest with you, I had a moment of reset. And because of that reset, that was when I decided to take back control of my life, of my career, so that I would no longer put myself in the position where I felt less than. Yes. So, what I wanted to just briefly come and talk about, what does workplace trauma look like and how does it show up? Today I'm doing a two-part series for today. And then on Thursday, we'll be discussing how to overcome that, and how it impacts your career, your side business. So let's talk about how it impacts your side business, and then on Thursday we're going to talk about how you can overcome it. So so you're ready. You're like, okay, I know that I want to create a side business, but I don't know where to start. Here's what usually happens. If you have ever worked for anyone who is constantly critiquing, making your work feel less than, it impacts you starting a side business because you think that no one wants what you have to offer. You are constantly in your mind and you give yourself excuses on why you can't start. I need more time. I have too many ideas. Well, you know what? Today isn't the right day because someone told you sometime that the things that you have and offer is not valuable. And oftentimes, if you've been in a workplace for over 10 years, you've heard that. And it impacts you from starting. You know you need to start something because no one is valuing what you're doing. You're not getting paid what you're worth. You're trying to convince people that you deserve a seat at the table when you should own the table, right? And then when you get at the table, when you try to contribute, no one listens. It's deaf ears. So someone has told you at some point that what you have is not valuable and no one will pay for it. And you take that into your business when you're trying to even start. Yes. This often looks like, well, no one would buy what I have. Well, it's so many other people out there who's doing what I'm doing. What I'm going to provide doesn't make a difference. Who would listen to me? I'm just XXXX, right? X. So those are some of the ways that they show up. And I'm here to tell you today that when you are starting a side business, that mindset shift, which is part of the Business Accelerator program that I offer. If you have questions about that, DM me and we can talk about that later. But part of the mindset shift is it is critical where we are going from a mindset of not of being told that you don't have enough to a mindset where you have everything that you need. And I just want to affirm you today is that let go of what people have told you and remember who you are. So one thing you can do, and this is the homework I'm going to give. I want you to write down 5 reasons or 5 things, 5 sayings on what you have heard about yourself in the workplace. What has someone told you? It could be 1, you're not organized. 2, you don't show up on time. 3, you don't have enough experience here. 4, you need to get more project man. Whatever it is, write down 5 things that you have heard or have been told, right? In one column. And just call it things I heard at work. That's one column. In the next column, what I want you to write is contrary statements to that. Okay? So if someone says, you need more project management skills, what I want you to write is, I have I am a project manager who organizes, who can write down tasking, who knows how to complete, who knows how to assign the resources. I want you to write down a contrarian statement to that, because you have to keep reminding and repeating and reaffirming all of those statements when someone is telling you can't be to something that you are. I am going to assume that you're already this, right? Because you're trying to get somewhere. I already know this. Here's one thing I do know. The people that I am talking to, the places and where you're trying to go in your job, I already know you have the experience. You already have it. And it's not potential. You already got it. So I want you to write in the opposite column is, I am. I do this. I have this. Because I already know that you have it. The difference is that they're not willing to receive it. Yes, yes. Now, you're going to have, you do, again, I was very fortunate to have some amazing mentors and amazing leaders that I worked for. So that was awesome. But at the same time, I still wrote down statements to remind me of who I am, to remind me of things that I have done, to remind me of the tasking and projects that I have managed and the budget that it took and the people that I had to assimilate together to get them to be able to talk to one another, right? I had to remind myself of that, because you're doing something that's so naturally gifted in you that you take it for granted. Don't take it for granted, because everyone can do it. And that's what makes you uniquely you. Yes, yes. All right. So that is how workplace trauma can prevent you from starting a side business. On Thursday, what we're going to talk about, I gave you a homework assignment. I did give you that on writing it down and how to have contrary statements to it. But in addition to that, I'm going to talk to you about how to conquer what you have been told that is stopping and preventing you from having a side business, so that you can push forward, break those boundaries, and keep moving. The reality is this: I don't want you to be your biggest obstacle. Because here's the thing: when you fight for your limitations, oftentimes people are going to let you win. I don't want to let you win. And I don't want to be there with you when you're fighting for your limitations. But what I will do and what I can do is to help you break down those walls, break down those barriers, so that you can see the gift inside of you, the gift that you've had all along. It just needed to be open. All right, everyone. This is Uche Maple, your leadership and business strategist. I look forward to seeing you. So come back out on Thursday. If you are not part of the LEAP community, DM me, send me a personal email, and I would definitely reach out to you and add you to the community. All right, everyone. Have a great Tuesday, and see you later. Bye.